Hi! In some previous videos, I've revealed some Marvel Legends retro figures I've been picking up at the dollar store for $5. Here in Canada, we've had these in Toys R Us for $22.95, Walmart for around the same price, maybe a little bit less. Every once in a while, when you go to Toys R Us, they have them marked down to $10.99. Well, my local dollar store is providing me again with more of these Marvel Legends retro figures. I love them. I think they're fantastic. Now, I'm not a DC Marvel action figure collector. There's only so much that you can collect, and I just find that, Marvel and DC, there's just so much in that line, and I just don't have the room for this franchise. But when these came up at the dollar store for $5 and Toys R Us, I've been getting a couple of them there for $10.99. I found at this dollar store for $5. So I've learned my lesson. I'm going to wait and I'm going to continue collecting these just because for $5 I think they're a fantastic value for what they are. I actually feel like they're worth more than $5 even though they do not have a lot of accessories. There's got a couple here with accessories, but they don't have a lot of accessories, but most of them are at least 7 points of articulation. So enough of me rambling on. Let's get into these figures and see what the quality control is on these and do they stack up to the first ones that I bought. So here they are, all out of their packaging. And I am really impressed with these figures, especially the fact that I only paid $5 for them. I'm going to go through each one of these figures and tell you what I like about them and what they could improve about them. Really, for $5, you can't ask for much. But like I said, we're going to be thinking about this as if they were $22, $23 figures because that's what they were originally priced as. The first figure we're going to look at in order is Captain America. Looking at that artwork on the front just reminds me of really the 80s, if you ask me. And when we turn it around, we also have a little bit of a bio here. And they're continuing on with that poetic style writing. Captain America is a heroic force for all time, fighting to keep freedom and liberty safe from evil crime. So, and you can cut these out. It's really cool. And I do really enjoy seeing the background as a comic. I think that is pretty cool. Taking a look at the figure, he has a shield. He actually comes with something. Most of these don't. And it just clips on there. And what I noticed about this shield, and it's too bad about this figure, is he does have a hole on his back. And it's too bad we can't clip that on his back because, well, in the comics and in even the movie, he can usually put this on his back. It's too bad there wasn't like maybe a little spot here where that could plug in like that. But really, if you just plug it in like that, can it fit over his neck? You can put it on his neck, which looks kind of weird, but that is an option. But it's too bad that they didn't do something about being able to plug it in to his back. He's got a hole there already. The paintwork on this guy is really, really good. You can see the wings on his head. I'm going to bring this up a little closer. See, the wings on his head is painted. He's got three-tone paint on his arm. Actually, I just think it's just the white is painted here. This is blue plastic. And because these guys are mostly 7 points of articulation, at the glove cut, we can do some articulation there along with the head. And the face looks really good too. It's really, really nice. Nice face there. Now, he does have, it almost looks like he's got a boot cut at the boots, and all of these are kind of like that. They just don't move. It's too bad they didn't have that extra articulation, but I can see why they don't. So that's the only thing I can say about this figure really is it's too bad his shield couldn't go on here, but if you look at that shield, I mean the paint apps on these toys are really, really, really good. My next figure here is Firestar. Some of my favorite artwork right here is the females. You can see the flames there turning her around. You can look at her bio here. Let me read it for you. With fiery abilities and amazing friends, Firestar burns bright through thick and thin. So that's her card. Now I just wanted to mention a little bit. I am, and I do this a lot. I do a lot of customs and stuff like that, and I actually keep these, even though they are recyclable. I keep these just to reuse them one more time, and I use them for paint or water or whatever I need them for when I'm doing customs and painting and stuff like that. They're great to use for that, and then you can just recycle them afterwards, giving them a second purpose. Take a look at the figure. She does not come with any accessories. It's just the figure herself. And she's got those cool glasses on. She does have some fire paint here, and it goes from her arm, which is in yellow plastic, to her wrist, which is in a red plastic. She has the same thing going on her boots. Now I did notice that there's some weird paint apps here. Really simple figure. Her hair mold is really nice. It looks like fire burning, and I just think that she's, even though minimal, she's one of my favorite out of this collection. Next we have Fantastic Four, the Thing. I like how he's holding the thing, the sign. That's pretty cool. And we've got some things going on over here. That's really neat. So you can see that in the background. On the back it says, when the punches are rolling and the baddies are all in line, that's when the Thing knows it's clobbering time. Taking a look at the figure, this guy is a hefty figure. He looks really nice. I do really like how they molded his skin like it's kind of a cracked clay or rock. And there's not a lot of paint apps. He's got pants and a belt. That's it. And unlike the other figures, he only has 5 points of articulation, where he's got at the hips, arms, and head. No articulation at the wrist, and that's too bad. I'm wondering why they couldn't have done that. I know he is a big guy and he's made up of a lot of plastic, but having the wrist articulation on these I think is really nice. That's why I enjoy these guys so much, and having that allows you to pose them a little bit differently than most figures that only have 5 points of articulation. Having that wrist articulation I think makes a big difference, and it's too bad they didn't do that with him, but I still do like him. Next I have Black Widow, and I saw this at Toys R Us. They wanted $22.95 for her. That was just like 2 weeks ago. I almost picked her up because I really like this figure. I like the looks of her, and she looks good in that artwork. We turn it around. You can see her little right up here. Any spider can spin a web and pull on its strings, but evildoers beware, this Black Widow stings. Now, like Captain America, she does come with an accessory. She has this grappling hook gun, and it doesn't really fit. It's kind of loose, unfortunately, and that's the only gripe I have with this figure, is it's kind of loose in her hand. It wasn't at first, but now that it's been in her hand for a little while, I find it to be loose, and it's pretty good in her left hand, so we'll leave it there for a while. And just black, a little bit of yellow, no hole in the back, and her boots seem like they're made out of a different plastic. The feet and hands seem like they're made out of a rubbery plastic more than the body, and that kind of gives it the illusion that the boots are a different colored black, because it's more of a matte rubbery black than a shinier black that the body is in. And if you look at her face, she's got a really nice head sculpt. Side profile. Because of all the movies that we've been getting over the last 10 years, you can't have Marvel Legends without Thor. And I'm not really a fan of the movies, but Thor is a big part of the Marvel universe. And here we've got the mighty Thor with some crazy 70s kind of colors here. And he looks really good. You can see the universe in the background of his artwork there. And on the other side, we can see his bio and then the card that you can cut out. Hark now, true believers. Though his manner may seem odd, the mighty Thor delivers unto his foes the hammer of the gods. I do think that if all of these Marvel Legends retro figures were given the particular detail that Thor has and the accessories, I think all of these would be a slam dunk. He does come with a hammer. There's a little bit of a paint issue there from the head of the hammer. It's on the handle there. It's kind of weird, but I do like this classic look of this character. He looks really good. And I have one or two issues with this figure. For one thing, his paint looks pretty good. He's got a lot of paint apps. He's got these wristbands here. He's got some nice detail on his helmet with those wings. And it's almost like a metallic silver paint that he's got. It's really shiny, almost like a chromy look to it. Some good detail on the face. But there is some paint issues on his belt. If you can look here, there's some paint issues there. He does have his nice belt buckle with the wings on his belt there. I think that they should have given his articulation here at the wrist. I don't know why they keep putting it up here. Now, are these arms like repurposed from a different figure and these were actually gloves for somebody else? Because it doesn't just look right. It should have been cut right here, and I think it would look a lot better, because if you look on this arm here, when we turn that, it just looks weird because the mold from the bottom to the top part of the wrist or arm there just doesn't match up when you turn it. And I do like that he's got a cape here too. It plugs into his shoulders there. That's a weird. I find that to be a really weird decision that they made. But when you do put the cape on, and I probably will never take it off anyway, when you do put it on, it looks really good that the way they did that. So probably one of my favorite figures when it comes to like all the accessories he has and all the paint apps. And he's a big figure too. He's not as big as the Thing. He's got everything that you would want out of these figures, and I really like him. Next we have Iron Man. You can see he's got that classic look, and he's got that riveted iron wall in behind him. If we turn this around, we have Iron Man. It says, a genius mind and suit of armor make Tony Stark a real charmer, stopping villains where they land as the invincible Iron Man. Not much to say about this figure. His mold is really nice. He does have the articulation here at the wrists, legs, arms, and head. The thing that bothers me about this figure a little tiny bit is the paint detail of the yellow on his chest. And if I bring that in a little bit, you can see that it's a little off. He got a little bit of paint bleed on the sides of the mold in the chest, and it just doesn't look right. He doesn't come with anything, unfortunately. I will say that the face has got some nice detail with the paint apps there, and we can look on his back. Nothing to see there, and very minimal. But this character does have a minimal look to him from the classic comics, so I think he looks okay. I do like the character, and I'm glad to have him in the collection. I mean, you can't have a Marvel Legends collection without Iron Man, so I'm glad to have him in the collection. So That's nice to see. Next we have Moon Knight. Very, not a lot going on in this character. He does have a hooded cape, and he's pretty much just one color, the white with the black face. So we look at the back here, and it says, a mercenary bound to the ancient spirit Khonshu, Moon Knight fights to win the spirit its due. Taking a look at the Moon Knight figure, there's not a lot going on with this guy. He is mostly white. He does have some paint apps right here on the belt, and you'll notice if you look really closely, you can see there's a little bit of light green right here on this buckle. We've got some half moons and, I don't know, a circle with a line through it. And then he's got the crescent moon on his chest here. And like I said, there's not a lot going on. Not a lot of paint apps. He's got some red eyes, which makes him look menacing. He does have 7 points of articulation with the wrists, arms, head, and legs. You can see here that his cape does come off, and of course his head is all black underneath. I don't think he's supposed to be wearing a mask. I think it's just thought of as him being super dark underneath the hood, so you can't see his face, but there he is there. Not much to say about him. Doesn't come with anything but the hooded cape, and I think he's a good figure. The paint apps are pretty nice, but there's not much to say about this guy. He is cool, and I'm glad to have him in the collection. Next we have the man called Nova. Classic 60s character. You can see the space artwork there on the top of the card there. Looking at the back, it says, a human rocket blasting too far off cosmic places, Nova Richard Rider flies by and declares blue blazes. My grandmother used to say blue blazes all the time, so it must be something from the 50s or 60s. Here's the figure. He's got those supernova designs here. They look like stars. He's got like a blast on his face there, and he does have some little paint apps here for his eyes, and this is a paint app on his mouth. I think this is painted red, so there's quite a few paint apps going on, even though it looks like there isn't. I think these are painted here, his belt, so there's a lot going on. And he is 7 points of articulation. Black boots, which are nice, kind of breaks the blue and the yellow up with the red on the top. He does have a hole here, but he didn't come with anything to plug in there, so I guess you could take Moon Knight's cape off and put it on him if you so desire. But he is what he is, and that's it. That's all I can say about him. The paint apps are really good. I don't see any problems there. So one of my favorite superhero characters has got to be Spider-Man. I was a huge fan of the classic Spider-Man animation from the 60s and 70s, and I am a child of the 70s, but most of my toy collecting and toy memories come from the early 80s because of G.I. Joe and Star Wars and stuff like that. So, I mean, that cartoon for me and my friend watched that every day after school, and we just loved it a lot. So this is a classic character for me, and he is really cool in this paint app. He's got the black and the red, and it's strange. I understand what they're going for with the, he's got the spiderweb hand here, and if you can move these hands like this and like that. He's got that 7 points of articulation like we've been talking about the whole time. But those spider webs they look strange like that. I might actually just cut those off, but I think they're cool the way they are like this. If he's showing him flying through the air, maybe. But I mean, he's only 7 points of articulation. You can't really bend his knees or his elbows, so that kind of makes it not really look good other than like this. But the paint app on this Spider-Man is really, really nice too. I'm not seeing any problems with the paint. Very crisp lines. They better be. That's what his design is like. And you can see they put a blue spider on his back. There is a little issue with the paint right here. There's a little gash there, but other than that, the paintwork follows down to his boots, and I really like him. I think I like him better in the black and red than the blue and the red, but that's just me. So these guys stand really good. They have a wide stance. It helps them stay standing. When I do this with the table, they don't fall down where most figures will do that. And I have had some comments in the past when I was showing some of these figures saying that these, because they're at the dollar store or the Dollar Tree or the Dollarama, whatever dollar store you have, they were claiming that perhaps the figures were cheap knockoffs, and I'm going to prove that that's not true, because here is Black Panther. I don't know if I ever revealed. I got 3 or 4 figures from Toys R Us. I've been talking about Toys R Us a lot, but I got a bunch of them. And this guy was from Toys R Us. I paid the Toys R Us price, even though it was on sale for $10.99. I paid a little bit more for him because I just wanted to get Black Panther. And I know they've made him in a bunch of different variations of this, but you can clearly see that these are the same thing. The plastic feels the same. It's, the articulation is still there. The paint apps are there, and I think they look really good. They have the same exact stamping on their legs. It's all there. So I have to say that these are legit figures that are being sold, and I think they're being sold at the dollar store, the Dollar Trees, because people just didn't want to pay the prices at your GameStop, your Toys R Us's, your Walmarts and stuff like that. And that allows somebody like me who really wanted to get these figures but didn't want to pay the price, and so I just wasn't going to collect them, and they weren't in my mind until I saw them at the dollar store. Now, I did want to take a look at these figures and compare them to the Super 7 reaction figures here. And the problem I have with these reaction figures is they don't have the wide stances, and they don't stand up very well in my toy collection. Like, these things fall over all the time. They do have holes on their feet, so yes, I could get figure stands for them. But the Super 7, I really like them. They make a lot of characters that I really like. Like, you've got this guy from Goonies here, Baby Root, and Sloth. I really like him. Rocketeer. And we've got this female figure here from the Fifth Element. And, I think they look good with these figures. They could stand on the shelf with them. They stand better than these figures do. Even though the Super 7, there's quite a bit of paint apps compared to what the Marvel Legends retro figures have, but I think that they work well with these other figures. Another modern figure is we have the Star Wars retro collection, and these can all fit in there. Even though they're all different franchises and companies, I think that they all look good together. You could have all of your favorite characters working together on the same shelf, and I think that's awesome. I get everything that I want. I get Star Wars, I've got Marvel Legends, I have iconic characters from movies from the 80s and 90s, and I just think that having all of these kind of work together. So thanks for watching this episode of Toysbackzen. I hope you got something out of this. I had a really good time doing this and putting this together, and I had a lot of fun just playing with these and moving them around and really checking them out and seeing what kind of quality control that they have. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.